here we go. Back again. Back again. Alright. And today it is, yep, you guessed it, the None Previously Fought Syndrome. And this is the 20th episode. So a bit of a milestone for the syndrome. Now, the syndrome, it basically helps to expose the deception that we get from the mainstream media, because the media is used as a tool to direct and manipulate the agenda, right? And usually phrases like "than previously fought" are a dead giveaway, right? And speaking of dead, I am still waiting for this to happen in the UK. This is people dying in the streets back at the start of the pandemic in Wuhan or somewhere in China. Now, I actually done a video on this way back when it happened, and I called it, well, it was to do with, it was asking the question basically if it was a biological war. And I never said that it was a biological war. I was merely asking the question. But of course, in this day and age, you cannot ask any fucking questions. Don't be stupid, right? Now, I did also say in the video that a lot of these clips of people collapsing in the street from China did indeed look like bad acting, right? But YouTube decided to remove it. But I have found someone who's copied, took a video of it, so I might upload it to BitChute. But of course, Convid, it is riddled with the fucking syndrome, big time. And this from 3 days ago, EnglishTempo.com. Studies find COVID-19 circulating outside China earlier than, yep, you guessed it, previously fought. Right. But what it should say is earlier than imagined. Because let's face it, they seem to imagine fucking everything. And to expand on this, regarding these studies, the World Health Organization, aka the criminals, said it will take every detection in France, in Spain, in Italy very seriously, and we will examine each and every one of them. Right, so the ever trustworthy and the ever faithful WHO will be examining and investigating these cases. But once again, in the syndrome, we are being told that COVID has been circulating much earlier than previously thought. Sure, why not? But this narrative, of course, it is one that continues to pop up in the syndrome. So they are clearly steering this narrative in a certain direction, all to fit the agenda. IFL Science, 1 week ago, COVID-19 lingered in Wuhan for much longer than previously. I wonder. And to expand on this a wee bit, new research by scientists at Wuhan University suggests COVID-19 was silently spreading between thousands of people in the city, while the infection appeared to be under control in springtime. Dun, dun, dun. So, yeah, how did they miss that one? I guess what they will need to do is test. More testing. Constant testing. Test them every fucking minute. Look out for it. And speaking of Wuhan and sticking with COVID, the New Zealand Herald 7 hours ago, COVID-19 coronavirus. Wuhan virus lab scientist thought to be patient 0 still missing. Right. So this is the person or lady from Wuhan who would just happen to be a virologist who worked at the Wuhan labs, right? She is seemingly patient 0 and seemingly still missing, right? And as you can see, this is from the 18th of January, and seemingly all the special forces in the world, even the fucking Americans, are trying to seek this person but have failed, right? The fate of a Chinese researcher believed to be the world's first COVID-19 patient remains a mystery, despite a year-long search by Western intelligence officials investigating the origins of the pandemic. Right. Haiyang Yanling, right? We'll go with that. Haiyang Yanling, who worked at the Wuhan Institute of Virology, was one of scores of doctors, scientists, activists, and journalists who disappeared during the Chinese Communist Party's suspected cover-up. Because, yeah, that is indeed how they work in China. If they want you gone, you will indeed be gone. But, yeah, this is a strange one, this. And to expand on it a bit more, the Wuhan Institute of Virology denied she was patient 0 and insisted without evidence that she was alive and well elsewhere in the country, while scrubbing her biography and image from its website. Right. So this institute said that no, she is alive and well, and then proceeded to delete everything that they had put online about her. So, like I said, this is pretty strange. Does this person even exist? Now, I personally don't know this lady, this patient 0 from Wuhan. I don't know this lady from Adam. She could be anybody. She could be dead, she could be alive, and yeah, she may not even exist. Right, and that does sound a bit far-fetched, but it ain't, because I know that the majority of you who watch this channel will indeed know that the deception, it goes fucking deep, big time. And sticking with this article, which you will now see why it is indeed in the syndrome, Pompeo earlier demanded the World Health Organization launch an investigation into the possibility the virus was result of an accidental lab leak. Right. He said US intelligence agencies had found scientists at the Wuhan Institute of Virology fell ill in the autumn of 2019 with symptoms consistent with COVID-19 earlier than previously believed. Right. So seemingly Pompeo has breaking evidence that is seemingly pointing towards the virus even leaking from a lab. And to expand on it a bit more, it comes as US officials step up their attacks on China over the pandemic, claiming they have explosive new evidence that proves COVID-19 leaked from the lab. Right, so I would imagine that there will be fireworks yet. Now, if Pompeo or any of the Captain American officials are looking for someone to blame for the pandemic, then look no further than the Rockefellers. But of course, they won't go knocking on their door because they fund them. These guys fund the government officials, so they're hardly going to bite the hand that feeds them, right? Anyway, we will leave this magical, mystical COVID-19 for the time being. But yeah, it will indeed be back again next week in the syndrome, mark my words. Because, like I have said from the start, this COVID is absolutely riddled with the syndrome, no doubt about it, right? Straight up. And I did see in the UK today that seemingly Mr. Matt Hancock is in isolation because he came into contact with someone who had this deadly disease, COVID-19. Now, of course, this is clear manipulation at its finest, really, because only a few days back we had a big hoo-ha in the UK where everyone was going apeshit because Matt Hancock was photographed by someone at the weekend outside. Would you fucking believe it? He was outside having fun, playing rugby, I believe, and everyone was kicking off, and the press fucking went mental with it. But now it would appear that he has to self-isolate. Sure, why not? Now, moving on from that, I'm sure you know what this is. It has been in the syndrome a few times now. Well, it's, I can never say this word, archaeological discoveries and evolution. Right, 1 week ago, Daily Mail, Stone Age may have continued up to 20,000 years longer than previously, thought. Right, so what is this one? Archaeological digs found evidence of Middle Stone Age tools 11,000 years ago. This is about 20,000 years after the previous latest recorded use of these tools. This suggests that some ancient humans moved to newer tools later than others. Right. Archaeologists say their research supports the idea that for most of humanity's prehistory, groups of humans were relatively isolated from each other. Right, so they were not in any way connected to other regions or groups of people. Right, sure. So again, it goes to show that they know absolutely fucking nothing. Or is it more to the point that what they tell us is absolute fucking lies? Right? I think probably both, actually. And to continue with this, the new discoveries at sites in Senegal on the west coast of Africa by Max Planck Institute researchers, right, are fueling a rethink of the passage of human evolution. Right, so a few wee discoveries here and there, and a wee bit of black magic with carbon dating and computer modelling, and hey presto, the fucking story changes. but that's what it's always going to do, right? What do these people really know? And speaking of know or knowing, good old NASA has popped into the syndrome once again. And yes, of course, NASA are full of deception. They are indeed masters of deception. And yeah, the Daily Mail 4 days ago, NASA finds there are far fewer galaxies than previously thought. Dun, dun, dun. So yeah, once again, NASA seem to have missed something. Or is it this time actually that they have over-calculated? How could that happen, right? NASA finds there are far fewer galaxies than first thought, with numbers in the billions rather than trillions. Whoops. So, good old NASA, the ever reliable, right? Sure. And yes, speaking of the trillions, that is what NASA do. They waste trillions of American taxpayers' money on basically deceiving them, right? They are paying for their own deception, right? This is how fucked up things are, right? But we will leave the syndrome for today, but it will be back next week. And I wanted to share another channel recommendation with you, and it's this guy here who I came across about a month, maybe 2 months ago on Facebook, and he does good Facebook lives where he challenges store managers and security guards in regards to the tyrannical enforcement of masks, right? And this guy, he does not give a fuck, and we need more like him, right? So I'm sure that a lot of you will enjoy his channel, so I will link it in and you can check it out on YouTube, right? And speaking of YouTube, just finally for today, over the past few weeks I have been going over once again some of Bill Cooper's stuff, the late William Cooper, and I came across this video from 1993 in regards to the wonder jabs, the magical inoculations, right? And this video, it destroys vaccines, and it's mainly about this book here, Immunization, the Reality Behind the Myth, by Waylon James. Now, I will link in the video and you can check it out, but I do want to buy this book, and hopefully in the near future I can make a video on it, because yeah, it does indeed sound like a very good read. So check out the video and possibly the book if you've not already. Maybe you have, right? What do I know? Anyway, that is about it for today. If anybody else would like me to give them a shout out in any future videos or a recommendation, then let me know and I will happily do it. There was someone who I was meant to, but when I looked for their channel, I couldn't find it. So yeah, I'm absolutely fucking useless. So my apologies to the person that was. And yeah, hit me up again and I will make sure that I recommend your channel. No problem. Anyway, thanks for watching and I will catch you on Friday. But before I go, I will leave you with this clip from Bill Cooper. And yeah, let me know what you think. Alright? And that is about it. Bye-bye.
How many of you read my book, Behold a Pale Horse? I would assume that at least some of you have. In there, I made a statement, I started to say, for which I was ridiculed and chastised and called a nut, but I was called a nut and ridiculed and chastised for everything that I wrote in that book. But I wrote in that book that the New World Order, the utopian socialists consider violent tendencies to be genetic, and that they would identify people who have these violent tendencies, and they would collect their genealogies, and sometime in the future, all of these people are just going to be wiped out right off the face of the earth. And that they would be collecting genetic samples and genealogies. Well, everybody said, "You're nuts, they're never going to do this." Well, I wasn't nuts, and I'm not nuts. What I said was absolutely correct. It's true. You can look for a law sometime in the future that will mandate that doctors take tissue samples and turn them in to these genetic databases on anybody who has any kind of contagious disease. And they'll say that the reason is to find out if there is a predisposition to contagious diseases, and they want to have this on a database so that they can know what segment of the population is going to be infected by swine flu in the year 2020, etc., etc., etc. You watch. It's going to happen. Just like what I wrote my book years and years and years ago and have been warning you about is happening right now. And don't sit there and shake your head no. People who have a tendency to say that I don't know what I'm talking about usually end up eating their own words. No salt, no pepper, no sauce. They don't taste very good. Because I don't say things lightly. I've been studying these people for more years than I even care to imagine. I know more about them than anybody on this earth outside of their own body politic. We've run out of time, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody's been saying, well, we don't have to worry about it now. We still got a few years before anything happens. Bah, bah, oh, bah, 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 bah. That is famous last words, maybe? Listen to me carefully. We've run out of time.